Hello, this is Pastor Ken once again. Today I have a story not only for the patients and residents, but one for the doctors and nurses and staff as well. It's a story about Moses. Remember the man who had received the Ten Commandments for the Israelites and for the rest of the world? Well, Moses had a staff, and God sometimes used Moses and his staff to perform different miracles, like to get Pharaoh's attention when God wanted his people to be let go and to go worship him in the wilderness. When Pharaoh finally let them go, he started chasing after them, and God again used Moses and his staff. Moses hit the waters of the Red Sea, and they parted so that the Israelites could get away from Pharaoh and his armies safely. Later on, they thought dying of thirst, and they cried out to God, and Moses was instructed by God to take his staff, hit a rock, and out of the rock came water gushing out that provided water not only for the people but all their livestock as well. Later on, they're fighting a battle. And as long as Moses would take his staff and hold it up, maybe in front of him, maybe over his head, we don't know, but he had to hold that stick aloft. And as long as he did so, the armies of God prevailed. But when his hands started to get weary, they started to fall, the army would lose. You can imagine what it'd be like trying to hold a stick up like that for hours on end. It was inevitable that his arms would drop. Two men, one was his brother Aaron and another by the name of Hur, got a boulder, put it under Moses, and he sat down, and then they stood on either side and held up Moses' arms. And again, as long as he held his arms up and held that stick aloft, the armies of Israel prevailed. And they did prevail. The army won that day. I don't know who you are in that story. Maybe you feel like you're one of the foot soldiers out on the battlefield, and you keep glancing up, looking for a miracle. Maybe you feel like Moses, and you're just trying your best to hold that stick up in the air, and your arms are tired and worn out. Maybe you feel like you're one of the ones supporting Moses and holding up that stick and keeping the battle going till it's won. But ultimately, of course, God is the one who wins the battle. We rest on thee, our shield and our defender. We go not forth alone against the foe. Strong in thy strength, safe in thy keeping tender. We rest on thee, and in thy name we go. As we read in the Psalms, you, O God, have a strong arm. Your hand is mighty. Your right hand is exalted. Amen.